بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم علمنا ما جهلنا وذكرنا ما نسينا وافتح علينا بركات السماوات والأرض إنك أنت السميع العليم. O Allah, teach us what we were ignorant of and remind us of what we forgot, and open for us the blessings of the heavens and the earth. You are the all-hearing and the all-knowing. Allahumma ameen. Go ahead, Sister Sumaya. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, assalamu alaikum everybody. Welcome to the virtual curriculum night. This is Sister Samira, and I'll be the homeroom teacher for 5th grade and the ELA/ELAR teacher for 4th and 5th. This is our teachers team with Sister Susie, Sister Jill, Brother Warren for PE boys, Sister Veda, Sister Erica, and Sister Iman for 5th grade. And the 4th grade teachers, Sister Hina Chaudhry, the homeroom teacher, and Sister Jill, Social Studies PE, Sister Sama, Sister Erica for Arts, and Sister Aziza for Quran and Islamic Studies. This would be our 4th and 5th grade curriculum for ELA, ELAR, Math, Science, Arabic, Social Studies, Islamic Studies and Quran, PE, Technology, and Arts. Starting with ELAR, these are our primary concepts that we cover in class every single day. We do vocabulary, grammar, and mechanics, writing. A lot of writing is being taught in class and learned in class: expository, persuasive, personal narratives, and opinion essays, and many more. We have SAT word studies, spellings, phonics, comprehension, we do genre focus, literature anthology, and fluency. These are the things we focus on: ELA, the writing class, and the ELAR, the reading. These are some of the genres that we do in our book. Our curriculum is Wonders. This would be the link to the McGraw-Hill website. We also use IXL, Epic, ReadWorks. Merriam-Webster.com is the online version of the book that many students purchased this year for their personal reference during the class for in-person students. And then we have Quizlets for SAT words. SAT word, we have 100 words for the 4th graders and about 120 words for the 5th graders. And all of this work is done in class. We do study with a dictionary. We have our SAT words list on our side, and we write everything in our SAT journal. We log everyday word, and then we do the synonym, antonym. The meaning of the word is given to the students. It's on their list, SAT words list. And then we want them to do a study of that word, finding the synonym, antonym, and then trying to use it in a sentence based on something that we are doing with grammar, so they can create simple sentences, complex compound sentences with the SAT words. We have our first evaluation at the end of this month, and we'll be doing so many words that we covered until 9:30. Actually a week before 9:30, how many ever words we have studied in class. I'll be adding all of those and then creating a multiple choice type question paper for the students so that they can pick the meaning of the word, the part of speech that it has, and the correct spelling of the word. So some of the questions will say the meaning of the word, and then the students will have to pick the correct word that meaning belongs to. And then the students' privacy policy is one thing that we are very particular in Radiant STEM Academy. We go by the FERPA law. It's a code of conduct for students and their families and the educational rights. Students, we actually tell students not to share their scores in class or the MAP scores in class or how they did on a test because it's against the FERPA policy that students' privacy is maintained, and all of us teachers to maintain that, and we don't discuss one student's work scores or their progress in front of other students. And our classroom management is that we review the class rules every single day in the class. We make sure that students are learning to be responsible and their behavior is rewarded in school by citizenship and tarbiyah awards. And there's consequences to that the students face if there's some misconduct or inappropriate behavior, and bullying and all of those are some of the issues that we do not take very lightly at RSA. And apart from the behavior and classroom management, we have some homework policy. For ELA, I have not started the homework yet for students, but then if we start homework, it'll be in the level reader library, which is an online book, and sometimes students can also borrow it from the class and answer the questions at the back of the book. And apart from that, we do reading logs, which is connected to Pizza Hut reward system. And then some of the students do it on Epic. They read the books online on Epic and then get rewarded for it through earning coupons, which earns them $5 free pizzas in Pizza Hut. And then this is our safety for COVID-19. During the COVID-19 time, here's the CDC protocols that RSA follows every single day, very, very dedicatedly. We check temperatures, we ask students to keep their hands clean, wash them, sanitize them. And even during the class, at every change of period, we ask students to sanitize their seats, sanitize their books and places, and put them back in the cubby and wait for the next teacher to come. And then students get to change their mask if they've sneezed in it, or if they need to change it. And then we use disinfectants. We ask students to stay apart from each other and be socially distanced. Some students usually walk up to other students' desk, and which we ask them like not to do that, and it's not allowed in class. They are supposed to be wearing their mask at all times, and we monitor the students very actively during the class time and also during lunch and recess. And then if your child is sick, and these are the symptoms that we need to watch for before anything shows positive on any test. So these are the things that the symptoms are: fever, sore throat, runny nose, cough, and muscle aches, headaches, and fatigues. And in our classroom, if any of the student is showing any of these symptoms, because it's allergy season, I see like a few students sneezing, and if they sneeze more than twice or 3 times, we have them tested. Like we have them go to the office to get checked. And then this is the motivation and discipline of students, like listen as much as you speak, be positive, and we use kind words in class. We are polite, we speak up, and we explain how we feel, and we use wise words to do that. And we also make sure that we are not looking down upon any of our classmates. We celebrate each other's success also in class, rather than doing the opposite of it. These are the recognitions that we had in our in-person school. These are photographs from before COVID time. And you can see that we're celebrating our students and calling them, recognizing them in the assembly. And then we have STEM integration within our curriculum. STEM integration is science, technology, engineering, and math concepts. Even in ELA, math, science, social studies, even in Arabic Quran, we try to implement STEM by using current technology, real world experience. We know that students do understand if we give them a relationship with what's going on in the world, the real world example, which retains the concepts in their minds more firmly. So we use real world experience and the 21st century skills. And project-based learning is, we do projects in every subject, even in ELA, ELA-R are two different projects. One project is for the ELA class, which is usually the writing pieces, the essays, sentences, writing sentences, or grammar, using grammar. And for ELA-R, most of the projects are research-based. Students read up, research, inquiry, they do inquiry of the topic that's given to them, and then they present their project with their teammates. And usually ELA projects are individual projects. Students do it by themselves, like one single student does their own project. But the ELA-R project are group projects where they learn to be in group and participate and get to solving a problem. The other subject that I teach is technology. We do this once a week on Thursdays for the 5th graders and Wednesdays for the 4th graders. We expect, these are the expectations that RSA has for technology. For 4th grade, it's Typing Club, Code.org, Scratch, and then we also do website development at the end of the year. And for 5th grade, we do robotics apart from Typing Club, Code.org. And yeah, we don't do Scratch for 5th graders, but then we do 3D builder programs and the video editing softwares for the 5th graders. And we do have tests for Typing Club this year for in technology class, and then you'll be able to see how they're progressing in their typing skills based on their test scores, inshallah. All right, Jazakallah khair, and it's over to Sister Hina and Sister Susie.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can we go to the next slide, Sister Samira? I'm Sister Susie. I'm teaching 5th grade math and science. I'm also the math department lead. Science, I'll be talking about science for both 4th and 5th. Sister Hina will talk about 4th and 5th math. It's basically the same curriculum, it's just more in depth. The science curriculum is divided into 4 categories: science, engineering, and technology, where we teach them how technology is incorporated in daily life, what is the scientific method they need to follow. We learn about the life science, which is plants, animals, ecosystems, pollution, all of again, day to day, we try to relate to whatever they are learning. Earth science, we'll talk about space and earth resources. Finally, we'll talk about physical science, which is matter and energy, heat and electricity and magnetism. As some teachers already said, that our policy for homework, especially for science, is minimum homework. And sometimes we don't even give them homework. Usually for 5th grade, I give them homework, research, or sometimes read the lesson before they come. So this way they are more familiar with the concept of vocabulary words that we will be using. This year, 5th grade, especially, they have a STAR science. 4th grade won't have it. They only can have it in 5th grade. So I really would appreciate it if you work with your children to make sure that they read the lesson, look at the pictures, look at the captions. And of course, throughout the year, we prepare them for the STAR, for the science STAR through Kamiko practice or previous STAR tests. For this year, there will be no science fair for elementary, but we, of course, we're going to do a big project throughout the year. 1 or 2 school projects to teach them the scientific method and still get them used to the science fair and the rules of science fair. Now, Sister Hina will take over for math. Jazakumullah khairan.
Assalamu alaikum. I am the math teacher for 4th, math and science teacher for 4th grade. So math for 4th grade is similar to math for 5th grade as well. Like the domains are similar, where you have place value, number sense, fractions, geometry, and you end with finance. They do build on one another. So there are certain concepts in fourth grade that students need to be prepared for in order to, for when they move on to fifth grade as well. Fourth grade is heavy on multiplication, like longer digit multiplication, 3 by 2 and 2 by 2 digits. It's also where we start to begin long division as well. So for this, students are really going to have to practice their multiplication facts. They're going to have to know it and practice it a bit more at home. It is something that they covered last year in third grade, but you know, with multiplication, it does take a little bit of time to build that fluency. So students aren't expected to know, for example, 5 times 7 in a couple of seconds. They aren't expected to know it very quickly. However, they are expected to know how to go about getting solving for 5 times 7, if that makes sense. So it doesn't matter about speed, it does matter about fluency. So once they have that down, it's when the division becomes a bit simpler for them. We do have daily math homework. Math homework is given Monday through Thursday for fourth grade daily. It should take them about 10, 15, 20 minutes possibly. If you feel that your child is taking more than that, please send me an email and I'll be happy to revisit the concepts with them and help them with that as well. They are given for fourth grade Prodigy, which is extra math practice as well. It's something that the kids really enjoy, and if they spend 5 or 10 minutes daily on it, that's perfect. Just to revisit some of the math concepts that we've learned in order to help prepare them for STAR this year. A breakdown of our grades. This pretty much is school-wide. We spend about, or grades are calculated about 40% for tests and quizzes, 30 for classwork, 20 for projects, and 10% for homework. Like I said, homework is usually for retention and extra practice, so that 10% kind of gives them a boost to their overall grade point average. Progress reports are sent via RenWeb on Sundays, but you may look throughout the week onto RenWeb for an update of their grades as well. Any questions on grades, please go ahead and email the subject teacher. And that brings us to our communication policy. We like to keep an open communication between parents and teachers. If there are any concerns, please email the subject teacher about it. And you'll usually get a response within 24 to 48 hours. And over to Sister Sama.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sister Samah. I'm gonna inshallah teach this fourth grade this year Arabic, and I'm gonna cover also for Sister Ruwaida for fifth grade, inshallah. So this year, inshallah, we'll focus about the reading and writing, and we'll focus about the practice writing the sentences, and we'll describe the daily weather, and also the student able to inshallah read the Quran more this year and understand the vocabulary word. Next slide, Sister Samira. And also, inshallah, this year also the student able to write a short paragraph also in Arabic and read and learn more vocabulary word also in the Quran and understand the meaning. For assignment, you have homework every Thursday and the spelling test on a Friday. So we'll mention this on the newsletter. Spelling test or reading test, so not at the same time, the two post test. And also we have Google Classroom. We'll mention the lesson and the vocabulary word, record the voice. We use also quizzes to help the student understand the language in a fun way, inshallah. Next page, sister. Next slide. For communication, please email me anytime. So inshallah, we're gonna reply inshallah for you. And I'm gonna over inshallah to Sister Erika. جزاكم الله خير.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sister Erica, and I am the art teacher for 4th and 5th grade. We meet once a week, and we are working on the development and expansion of visual literacy skills using critical thinking and imagination. So we will take experiences from the students, and we talk about experiences that the students have experienced, and we turn those around, and we encourage the students to express themselves through original works of art. So we are particularly honing in on the elements of art, such as line, shape, color, texture, form, and space and value. And these help us to shape composition. So we pay close attention to learning what are those various elements of art and how to implement them in our own design. We pay attention also to the principles of design and to make a balanced composition. So students will take personal experiences and synthesize those ideas into original works of art. We will talk about observation of artists and of their use of the elements of art and the principles of design. And we then observe those in their works of art, and then we implement ourselves. Thank you.
I came on time, I think.
Yes, Sister Aziza.
Jazakallah khairan. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My name is Sister Aziza. I am the Quran Islamic Studies teacher. Inshallah, I will be covering 4th grade and 5th grade curriculum and Islamic Studies, inshallah. Our expectation for inshallah is going to be focused on the Quran reading, memorization, and understanding of the Quran. The students are split into two different levels, depending on their ability to read and recite verses and memorize from the Quran. Each level varies in difficulty and of material being taught. Goals of Quran curriculum, we will focus on reading the Quran in Arabic with the proper tajweed, rules of tajweed or recitation, to understand the general meaning of the surah of the Quran, to know the meaning of the key words, the Quranic vocabulary we give the students each week, the repeated words in the surahs, to apply the lessons learned from the verses in everyday life, inshallah. Islamic Studies curriculum. The Islamic Studies curriculum will focus on the explanation and implementation of the Quran and the du'as, and Islamic beliefs and practices will be taught in 4th grade, ahkam of salah and sunan. And selections of the Quran will be discussed in the Islamic Studies lessons. Emphasis on developing good character and morals, inshallah. And we have Quran memorization competition every year, and it's optional for the students. Homework for the Quran, we don't give the students homework either for Quran Islamic Studies, but we encourage the students to review the ayat they are memorizing and practice them if they have time in their home, inshallah. In case if we give homework for the students, it will be given on Thursday and will be due on Monday. Test for Quran, every week the students will be given ayat to practice. They will be given time to practice them in the class. The student will be testing on the memorization the next week on Monday. We start testing on Monday. They should be ready on Monday, but we keep testing Monday, Tuesday, like all over the week, because we give the students time to practice and memorize, inshallah. And also the Quranic vocabulary, we give the students Quranic vocabulary. They will be tested on understanding the meaning of the Quranic vocabulary. Islamic Studies, the students will have formal and informal tests. And okay, that's the slide. Can we go next, please? Thank you. List of the surahs for 4th grade and 5th grade. These are the surahs the students learn each in 4th grade and 5th grade, but of course, the students read, they memorize and read up to their ability and level. So in 4th grade, we have Surah Al-Nazi'at, Al-Naba, Al-Mursalat, Al-Insan, Al-Qiyamah, and Al-Muddathir. So we continue in 5th grade with Al-Haqqa, Al-Ma'arij, Nuh, Al-Jinn, and Al-Mulk, inshallah. Textbook, there are 5 content areas. We have Aqidah, Quran, Sirah and Islamic history, Ibadat, worship, morals, and manners. The material is presented using a spiral approach where students revisit each area and study in greater depth each year. Next one, please. Shukran. Okay. Communication, always please don't be hesitant. If you have any questions, any concerns, please email the teachers. You can email me and Sister Iman for 5th grade. Okay, that's all. And you can call the school, but WhatsApp messages or phone text messages will not be acknowledged. That means the only way to contact the teacher is going to be during email or during the administration. Thank you, Sister Samira. Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Okay, I will be covering Sister Jill's subjects. Sister Jill is our social studies and PE teacher for 4th and 5th grade. 4th grade social studies focuses on the history of Texas along with regions of Americas. So she focuses on the regions, and she does this through a lot of hands-on projects as well. 5th grade social focuses on the history of the United States from 1565 to the present. They will explain characteristics and benefits of free enterprise and various economic activities in the US as well, along with focusing on the rights that are within the Bill of Rights too. Like I said, Sister Jill does a lot of hands-on projects, so students are kind of getting a bigger picture of social studies. She also teaches 4th and 5th grade PE. Students will have the skills to move and play. They will show what they know through move and play and use a plan when they're playing games. So there's a lot of team building and working together in PE. So Sister Jill also does self-assessment with the students as well. So before PE class ends, students will reflect on their class performance, how well they work together, where could they improve the next class. It allows them to evaluate their focus and skills and set a goal to achieve better performance. We also carry out MAP testing throughout the year. This falls 3 times a year. We are going through it right now for fall. We have a winter one and also a spring one. So MAP test is very catered to the individual student. It shows teachers where the students are at that moment, and it compares them nationwide. So teachers are able to get a specific snapshot of where the student is in certain concepts in math, reading, language, and science as well. This is our calendar. You can find the calendar in Cheetah Beats and also on the website. Students are, so our school timings are also from 7:55 to 2:55 for elementary, and everyone gets dismissed at 1:15 on Fridays. Communication, if you have any questions, Sister Samira is the 5th grade homeroom teacher. She's also the teacher for 4th language and reading. I'm the teacher for 4th grade, and you can contact honestly any of the subject teachers via email. We don't communicate on social media because of our FERPA laws. Your weekly newsletter is sent every week, and that kind of gives you the objectives and a snapshot of what students are learning in the upcoming week. RenWeb is where you'll find lesson plans and grades, including homework as well that has been assigned. Google Classroom is something that all students should have joined, just in case there is a need for students to be virtual for a couple of days or so. Their assignments can be found on Google Classroom. And I believe some of the teachers for 4th grade and 5th grade are using Google Classroom to post homework assignments as well. You can always feel free to schedule PTC conferences as well. Just email the teacher to set up a time. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, and I think I did email the teachers before. I'm struggling a little bit as far as homework is concerned. Because, you know, if you just leave it up to the students, sometimes they tell you completely something what's up and sometimes they don't. And so I'm not sure what, because sometimes they're asking for computers, Mom, I have to do some research. Like, research on what for this? Okay, I don't know if you really, is this a homework or you just asking on your own? So I was just struggling computer-wise, homework-wise. Should I just check RenWeb? Is it Google Classroom? Is it the same together? Is every teacher, because I know that, I think Sister Jude is not here. I think it was her or somebody else. And I said, can you just put it on RenWeb? Because RenWeb is like easier, everybody does it. And she said, no, I'm not gonna do it in RenWeb. It's just Google Classroom. I said, okay.
RenWeb is your first place to go for any type of assignments. If it's objectives, if you're wondering what your child is learning that week, RenWeb is by far the first place to go. If there is homework posted on Google Classroom, RenWeb will tell you.
Okay, so everything should be on RenWeb then, right?
RenWeb is the first place to go, yes.
I prefer RenWeb too, frankly speaking, over Google Classroom. I prefer RenWeb because it's easier, simpler, at least for me to see and use.
Well,
okay.
In terms of Google Classroom for the teacher, it is more convenient sometimes just because all assignments are on one place, and then students can see whether or not they have an assignment missing, whether they've turned it in, those type of things. Google Classroom does tend to be more convenient, but it is up to the teacher's discretion which one to use for what. For example, I use Google Classroom for science homework. I feel like students are, I only assign homework for science once a week, possibly for review. So, and that's all online work. So to post it on Google Classroom, it's a bit more convenient. But for math, just because it's a page from the math textbook, it's more convenient for them. It's for it to be posted on RenWeb. But RenWeb is your first place to go for all homework assignments.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions?
Sister Hina, there is a question in the chat. Is it the same one?
Will math be given in the Google Classroom instead of RenWeb, just like the other subjects? I think it depends. So for me, from 4th grade math, I don't give it on Google Classroom because I think it confuses the students whether or not they've turned it in. So because for me, math is it's a page out of their book. So it's a physical piece of paper that they turn into the classroom tray that they hand in to me. It tends to be confusing for them of whether they've turned it in to me by hand or if they clicked it on the Google Classroom. But I don't know what Sister Susie, what her procedure is, whether she does give math from the textbook or if she uses online resources, because there are resources online for math review as well. But RenWeb is just the first place to go for everyone. That's school-wide, that all objectives and lesson plans are posted there first.
Any other questions?
Assalamualaikum, this is Karen Khania, Isaac Khan mom. I've been trying to reach Sister Sama. I have emailed a couple of times, so I'll appreciate if you can call me back or email me back.
Sure, inshallah. Sister Hina. Any other questions?
Another quick question. Are you guys planning to keep the virtual learning the way it is right now? Or you're planning to change it in the future, like going back to the live Zoom classes?
Sister Hina, what was the question? I missed it.
I believe the question was whether the virtual learning will continue as it is, or will it go back to live Zoom classes?
Sister Mazida?
Yeah, we'll probably find your answer, inshallah, and we'll get back to you, sister, for that. And as of now, we're just helping the students as we're going. If students need the subject teachers to contact them, we hop onto the Zoom and we kind of answer the questions. And then I take tests for the students on the Zoom and try to, for the grading, for especially the spelling test. So that's so far. So inshallah, we'll get you a complete reply. Jazakallah khair.
I have a question for the art teacher. Is Sister Erica here?
Yes, I'm
Yes.
here.
I don't know, maybe I missed it. But in art, the curriculum that you were talking about, it's so it's more about like the theoretical aspect of art, which is great. The kids should know this. But what are they doing in like practically in art was like drawing?
Well, we study the elements of art and the principles of design, and then we have them, like I said, like first we introduce, like now we're working on color. We introduced the element of art of color. And so we talked about complementary colors, monochromatic colors, analogous colors, and looked at the color wheel and looked at the implementation of those types of colors within artist work. And then, and once we do inquiry and we learn about the various artists and the elements that they are portraying within their artwork, then we do application of what we learned. So our first project or assignment, I call them studio assignments. So our first studio assignment is a work of art in monochrome. So it's called Marvelous Monochrome. So I had them draw pictures, draw a big picture of various types of rainforest leaves, and they have to paint in monochromatic color. So they choose whatever color they choose to use, and then they have to implement monochromatic colors within that piece. So it shows us that they understand what monochromatic colors are, and also design aesthetic, like, is it balanced? Is it taking up the space of the paper? Is it looking, does it have variety? Does it have aesthetic appeal? So we learn and then we implement, learn and then implement. So they will have every week, because they have it once a week, it kind of makes it hard to introduce the topic, but we introduce the topic 1 week, and then the following week they will get right into it. I don't need to talk about it any further. Yeah, so then it's just application.
Okay. And is there any way, I know since it's just a week, but art is something like is it something coming from your head, right? Like it's not math or science, like there's a book and curriculum and things like that. And is it something like I want to draw some, you know how it, I don't know if I'm trying to say
Well, it
correctly.
has structure. It has structure. That's what we're trying to teach the students, that it does have structure. Like there are artists go about making a piece with those elements and the principles of design in mind, because like the overarching question is like, what is art? Like, can art be anything? So we discussed that, especially in the higher grades, like can anything be art, or what makes art? So that'll be the overarching like question.
Okay. So you gave me some words. Yeah. So I'm looking for unstructured, because art is the subject, which I guess not the only subject, but it has to be a little unstructured. What you were thinking, right? Is just whatever came in my mind, I can draw it. And kids who enjoy
it
drawing,
has structure.
if you tell them, like, if you give it too much structure, then their brains may not even like to do it, because it's just so much structured. Art is something that whatever I want to draw, I'm thinking of that and they can just draw it, right? That's art. If the kids want to enjoy this too. But if it's too much structured, then they'll just stop enjoying it, right? You know who artists are? If you tell them draw this, they can't. But what's coming from there in their own head, then they may draw very nice. So if it's too much structured, then they may not even want to like draw or develop the liking for the subject.
Well, it's what we're trying to do is we're trying to hone their skills and to be cognizant of how art is created. So like if you have a student that particularly loves like drawing cars, right? And we're doing like a nature study. So like when they go back to drawing whatever it is they like to draw in their leisure time, then they have knowledge of how composition works, like how okay, if I want to make this into a piece of art, it should have some sort of three-dimensional value, right? It should have depth, it should have balance, it should have like it should be aesthetically pleasing. So that if for example I wanted to make that car, or like actually bring it to fruition, it should appeal to the general public. So
can I add this, that we do have TEKS and standards posted on the RenWeb for your subjects?
Yes, yeah, we do have we are following a lesson guided plan, and that's aligned with the state of Texas. So but it does, like their sketch pad is like, I call it like a visual diary. So they can take their sketch pad home, and if they want to like they want to sketch in it, they want to draw, they want to keep that diary accessible to them. If they see something that inspires them, I encourage them to go ahead and include that in their sketch pad, and they can hold on to that for years. And it's always fun to go back and look at that.
Right. Okay. Jazakallah khair, that answers the question.
Sister Hina, I see one raised hand. Brother Muhammad.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Just had a question on the, I think I heard the sister talking about the homework, and I think it was mentioned that it should take the student 10 to 15 minutes to complete that homework. So I just want to understand, like, how is the homework load figured out for the student? Is it like based on some data that the school keeps up with to determine that load that is that is not too much, not too low for the student? Or is it something that is structured based on the student's abilities in the class? So just trying to understand, like, how do we get to these decisions? Is it something based on like what we've seen in the class, in this current class, or is it something that we determine based on the experience we've had overall?
For me, and I'm only speaking for math homework, it's based on the experience overall. Math homework that I give is just practice and to retain. So, math builds on practice. The more they practice, the better they get at it, which is why the math homework is there, along with Prodigy as well. And we are reviewing in class. So for me, math homework, 15, possibly 20 minutes max is what it should take. But like I said, if your child is taking more than that, then I would, as a teacher, would like to know so that I can go back and revisit those concepts.
Just a follow-up question on this. So again, is like, are we getting any data to support what we're saying, to support that the 10, 15 minutes is really paying off and the students are actually doing better with that 10 to 15 minutes? Or do we actually need to revisit this and increase the amount of homework so they can actually even perform better, or reduce the number of, or like the you know, the amount of time they spend on the homework? Like, is this that the school monitors, or is this subjective based on what you see in the class?
I think it's subjective based on what is seen in the class. I mean, I have some students who, you know, are able to finish their class, their homework during the school day. They have a couple minutes of free time after a certain subject, or they prefer to do their homework in class, which is perfectly fine. I don't like to give more because, you know, there are other subjects and it can be overwhelming for a child as well, which is why Prodigy is kind of flexible, where if students spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that's perfectly fine. I've had students come back to me after the weekend saying that they spend 30 minutes on it, which, you know, that's up to them, honestly, based on how much time they have and how much they enjoy it. So, but like I said, this is, you know, just purely for 4th grade math and based on my experience of it as well.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not proposing, you know, more homework, or, you know, or I'm just trying to understand, like, how do we get to make these decisions? So yeah, thanks for the clarification.
I see another hand, Sister Hina. And there's one chat question.
Assalamu alaikum, sister. I'm a mother of Jannah and Isa Gilani. Both my girls attend the school. I have a question regarding the Google Classroom. They go to school and then they come back, and then there is a homework on the classroom. They don't want to do the homework because they come back very tired, too much lazy. They just want to sleep, and that ends up of not doing the homework on time. When I open the Google Classroom, I see tons of assignments, and I'm like, which one you have to do? They say, Mama, we already did it in class. This is not ours. This is for the students who are on Zoom. We already submitted our assignments. And I said, okay, what do you have to do? Do you have to submit this, or you don't have to submit this? I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure if it is their homework or the kids who attend the Zoom. So is there any possibility of like dividing the homework between the kids who are already in the Zoom, assigned for them separately from the kids who attend the school? That's my question, and thank you.
Assignments on Google Classroom can be catered specifically to certain students. So if there is a question about a particular subject, I would reach out to that subject teacher. Since, I mean, I can't really speak for all of them. In terms of, for example, math, the math assignments, or the science, let's go for the science. The science assignments that are posted on Google Classroom, they are for everyone. It's so your child should have assignments for them, if that makes sense. But Google Classroom also has a to-do tab, if that helps to figure out what order they should do their assignments in. And it keeps track of what assignments are due when as well. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Sister Iman, Sister Hina, there is a question in the chat box.
The chat box says, is tutoring going to be available? Tutoring is available on a need basis. So if you feel like your child does need tutoring, please contact the subject teacher, possibly set up a PTC to discuss that further.
Any questions for 5th grade math and for science? I know I left and I came back. I had to go to the high school curriculum night.
It's a technical question, Sister Miraj. I don't know if I should ask. So I signed up for the PDC, but I never got the email, to sign up the exact timings.
For the time? Okay, I will look into that, Sister Sarah. It usually sends you a confirmation. Maybe there was some glitch. I'll look into it.
Yeah, exactly. It usually does, but I did it in the morning.
And sometimes it does about 20 days before. I will check. Okay.
Okay. Jazakallah.
Sorry. The question is, where will we find the recording of this session? Sister Amna, we will have it available by next week. You can email and request it to us. It will be under RSA Management YouTube channel.
Is there time for one more question?
More questions? Yes, please.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna just follow up again question on the how we use Google Classroom and all these tools. Will there be any orientations for parents on like best practices for parents on how to use these tools, how to best support the students and the teachers using these tools, especially for like new parents who just joined the school? Because I heard a lot of questions about like how Zoom, how we use Google Classroom and the other tools. So will there be any maybe best practices session or some orientation on how to best use these tools, and how can we be more effective and how can we leverage these tools better?
Yes, we were planning to hold a session, brother, but we do have a recording from last year. I can email it to you. Our teachers had put together, we had virtual school last year, especially for Google Classroom. And like Sister Hina mentioned, the purpose of RenWeb, the purpose of Google Classroom. So if you can send me an email request, I can send you the recording, inshallah, for time being. And we can plan to host a session with our teachers, inshallah.
Okay, sure. Yeah. And I'm also interested in like hearing more parents talk about the subject, like what worked best for them. Maybe they can also support the other parents. Cool. Thanks.
Inshallah. Any other questions? Sister Hina, Sister Samira, no more questions? Do you want to conclude the session or?
Yep. If there are no more questions, then I will take it as no more questions, and we'll leave, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khairan.
Thank you
Jazakallah khair, everyone, for attending. Thank you, teachers. Have a good weekend. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.